Hi. So a question I get a lot with clients when I introduce a new tool or I talk about using a new tool, usually it's with the e-collar, but I've gotten this question about a prong collar too, is how long will I have to use this? Or will I always have to use it? Or will I ever be able to transition him back to a normal collar? Or will I ever be able to not use the e-collar? Things like that. And I get it. I understand where they're coming from when they're asking that. But there's several ways to come at that, and I have several things that I think about that. One is you're setting yourself up for failure before you even start. Like, I'm recommending this tool because I've had a lot of success with it, and I can use it to solve the problem that you're having. Why would you let the answer to that question stop you from using that tool? So, like, what if the answer was yes? Yes, you always, right, we're going to use this prong collar now, and you're always going to have to use it. Okay. Is that a problem? Like, you hired me, or you're wanting to hire me because you have a problem that you can't solve on your own, right? If I'm giving you the answer, so what if you have to use it indefinitely? Usually you don't have to use it indefinitely, just to get that out of the way. Usually you don't have to. But it shouldn't be the goal to get off of the tool when you start with the tool. The goal should be to solve the problem that you're having. And then once the problem is solved, we can talk about, if it's important to you, a way to get off the tool. If there was a way to solve the problem, a better way to solve the problem without the tool, I would suggest that. You know, like, if there was a better way to do it that didn't require using a tool, I would suggest that. But if I'm suggesting a tool, that means that that's the best option that I know of. So what if you have to use it indefinitely? Another thing is, I can ask the same question back, or a similar question back, as well, how long will I have to use this? How long are you willing to put up with the problem without it? You know, like, your dog pulls on the leash. He pulls you down the sidewalk, and he has since you got him 5 years ago. How much longer are you willing to put up with that? And is that more important than how long do I have to use this tool? Does that make sense? Like, we're going to solve the problem that you've been dealing with for the past 5 years. So what if you have to use it indefinitely? So what if I can't give you an answer on how long you're going to have to use this tool? So what? If it makes your life easy, and it makes your dog's walks more enjoyable for both you and the dog, so what? You know? So what? You have to put a collar on your dog anyway to walk your dog. Unless you're off-leash trained, which is great. That's awesome. But if you have to put on a collar and a leash, might as well be a prong collar if that's the answer. And that's just an example. And like with the e-collar, I get it. I get the question of, well, I don't want it to become a crutch. I get it, okay? I understand. But you can say the same thing about a collar and a leash. Well, you still need your collar and leash to go on walks. That's become a crutch. No, it's just a tool that you're using to make your life easier and your dog's life better by enabling some freedom, you know? And it's like, if you use the tool properly, and this goes for any tool, if you use the tool properly, you probably, sorry, I'm just like all over messing with my hair. If you use the tool properly, you probably won't have to use it for the rest of your life. If you're using a tool as a helper in the process of training, you probably won't have to use that specific tool forever. if you're using it to help the process. But if you're using it, if you're relying on that tool, you probably will have to use it. And that's not always a bad thing. We rely on leashes, you know, and granted, my dogs are off leash trained. They don't need leashes. But that's a good example. Like, we rely on leashes, so I've never had someone ask me, well, how long am I going to have to use the leash? I've never had someone ask me that. I've had people ask me, well, how can I train my dog to not need the leash? I've had people ask me that, but I've never had someone ask me the same question about a collar and a leash that I've gotten about the prong collar or the e-collar. I've never had people ask me that. And the fact that they're asking me that also tells me that they see the prong or the e-collar as a negative thing. And they can be, but a collar and a leash can be a negative thing too. Any asshole can use anything to abuse a dog. If you're not an asshole and you learn how to properly use the tool, there's no problem. Just something to think about. Just something to think about.